How's it going?
Brian?
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 You know Brian?
Yeah.
He's a good guy, isn't
Talked
he?
to him over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's out of breath, man. Hey, man, the dogs are out. Be careful, dude.
Yeah.
Don't go that way.
What department do you work for?
Kansas City, Missouri. Not as many problems over here, you know, as Missouri does, crime-wise. Our crime rates are much higher.
How could you fix that?
Yeah.
More cops?
Well, it's just a different dynamic. You know, we have more people.
Right.
So, I don't know if more cops is the answer.
Less laws?
There's no easy.
Less laws?
There's so many laws right now, we can't even enforce them all.
That's right. That's what I say.
I ask you, like, as far as the crime rate, I wonder what the percentage is.
I think our homicide's up to, there's Brian, 75?
This year?
Yeah, which is...
That's more than KCK.
Oh, yeah.
Way more.
Yeah, it's way more than KCK, but last year we had a 20% decline in homicide rates, you know, but it's
So that's good.
up. Yeah, it was good.
But what are most homicides related to? You got those
I would assume.
Yeah,
nicotine
drugs,
sticks?
and some of them were DV. We just had a
Whoa, we're all gonna get smashed.
DV where 3 people got killed, you know, inside of a house.
Yeah. That's what I say. It's normally like,
Those are tough.
well, I mean, it's like emotion or victimless crimes, right? Like where there's no legal ramification or justification or recourse to
That's not victimless. There were 3 homicide victims.
What are you talking about?
I'm thinking like drugs. So like,
Like
if you get ripped off in the drug market, you can't take them to court like you could if I got ripped off in the hamburger market.
What are you saying now?
What I'm saying is that a lot of homicides are related to victimless crimes. Victimless crime being like selling
so
drugs.
Like you 2 were selling drugs and then got in an argument.
Right, she rips me off, and so I kill her because I can't take her to court.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I was selling hamburgers to McDonald's and they rip me off, I take them to court.
Yeah.
They make there's an arbitrator there. They make a decision.
Yeah.
And so, like, could we reduce those crimes, the violent crimes, by reducing victimless crimes,
Legalize drugs?
or just stop? Give them a recourse to have a more suitable way to solve disputes.
If drugs were legalized, I highly doubt people like me. I'm not going to go, oh yeah, I'm going to go do heroin because it's legal now.
Hey, I wouldn't do heroin.
That's stupid. But
Oh, right.
The simple fact that like somebody else who you work for can tell you what you can and can't put in your body, regardless of whether you're a cop or a lab tech or fucking whatever, isn't that like them owning you? Like you can't go home on the weekend and like
They are
put
paying
what you
you
want. Well, they're paying you to provide a service. As long as you provide, as long as
he'll be on the news, and that's
as long as
okay.
you provide that service correctly and you perform to the standards that they want you to, it shouldn't matter what you do on your off time.
There's a valid argument.
My whole point to it all was that I think you can reduce these violent crimes that happen over the drug trade by getting rid of the enforcement of like the pretty much trading of a good or service, right? Like, I mean, I'm a felon for the victim. I call myself a victim of the war on drugs. I was selling pot when I was younger, and it's like I didn't.
Yeah, and pot laws have changed a lot, you know. And back in, see, another thing people don't understand is.
But I mean, have you arrested people for pot? You know, because it's still illegal here.
Well, I know that.
I mean, large quantities.
But still, it doesn't matter though. That's inconsistent.
When rolling stops, it turns into a huge search because they say they smell. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing that some people don't understand. Is like, so if you 2 are selling dope and you shoot at her and she shoots at you and she hits you, but you don't die and you don't want to prosecute, well, we all know that she shot you and you shot her, but there's nothing we can do about it. We can't put her in jail because you...
Why would it work that way for a drug law then?
Because you don't want to prosecute. Well, hang on.
Okay.
But at the same time, 2 weeks later, you come back and take it out on her, revenge, and end up shooting up a house and shoot a 3-year-old in the head. So now how are we going to put you in jail?
Well, I think whoever I should...
Right, we could have put you in jail the first time to prevent the 3-year-old from getting shot in the head, but she didn't want to press charges against
Well, I hear you,
you.
but if this conversation actually started over us selling weed, then I would say we still have to start the conversation where it begins, and that shouldn't have been a crime to begin with. She and I might not have shot at each other.
The police never even knew about that crime.
Well, I know that.
And it was never on our radar. But
Right, but let's just say it came out. Like, okay.
Well, and
or
so
I'm saying
this is how we stop that. We get you with dope, put a case on you, and put you in jail.
Right.
We do that to both of you. Because we know sooner or later, you guys are going to hurt somebody innocent.
But what if somebody that I know...
But do you understand that, like, your guys' law already hurt somebody that was innocent first?
How?
Because us trading marijuana isn't that big of a deal.
Don't use marijuana.
But it's still...
It doesn't happen to
But hold on.
marijuana. Let's just call it property.
Okay, yeah, but that's what I'm saying is, you either have the freedom to own things, like if the government says I can own everything but this, they've still said yes to everything else, and that leaves the door open to say no to other things. So, like, sadly, with freedom comes responsibility. But I think if right now, so like the drug trade, more people might sell marijuana if it was less risky, right? But instead they're hustling a suitcase full of crack because it's just as risky. The suitcase full of marijuana and the suitcase full of crack is the same risk of smuggling it, right? You either get it by or you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the profit margin
being as big as it used to be.
But I'm saying the profit margin is much higher with the harder drugs. And so that's how that happens. And that's why harder drugs are even less safe. You know, I'm not going to say that all drugs would be safer if there was no laws against them, but it would definitely be the case in some extent. And I just want to say that I don't advocate that what I'm advocating would make less heroin users. I don't think. I think that is what it is. That is what it is, because we have the most stringent laws against that, and it still happens. They get hardcore drugs into maximum security prisons.
I mean, you can't just legalize everything because it's easy.
But you can.
No, I don't think so, because
I don't think there'd be any more people using heroin if it was legal.
There's going to be a lot more people using.
No way. Why?
Look at alcohol. It's legal. When
you think
the prohibition? When it
but you think there's more people using alcohol because it's legal than?
Yes, absolutely. Huh?
I don't think there's more alcoholics because it's legal.
I absolutely think there are. Yes.
So if it was illegal, there'd be less alcoholics.
Yes,
alcoholics would still they got a need.
Absolutely.
You've seen addiction.
How many people do you think when alcohol became legal started drinking?
You later check out.
Over time, I guarantee you, it's a lot more. If alcohol was illegal, I wouldn't.
No. That's a great point. When prohibition was lifted, there was a spike, but it leveled off.
And then it grew.
It's not growing.
It grew exponentially.
No way.
Yes. It's leveled off now because everybody does it when they turn 21.
Wouldn't it be like?
I don't do it.
It's
Yeah.
okay. Say alcoholism really is a problem. That it really is a problem. But like say it's like exponentially growing. Granted, that's like a societal problem, but shouldn't it be like something to be said that we actually have the freedom to fuck ourselves up this way?
Yeah, but you're hurting people in the process. How many people die each year from drunk driving?
Well, how many people die?
It's not that many.
25,000. Yeah,
But even with
Compared to how many people there are and stuff like.
that is a ton of people.
But I'm saying-
25,000 deaths.
It's a lot.
I don't see some huge.
I guess we're both arguing different points. Like I don't think we save any more lives with it being drunk driving being illegal.
If drunk driving only hurt the person who was drunk, I wouldn't care.
I get it.
Especially if you hit
Drunk driving laws don't keep people from drunk driving. And they don't save lives.
I don't drive drunk.
Well, that's because you made the choice. It's not because it's against the law.
It's illegal.
That's like.
So you would drive drunk if it wasn't?
Have you ever drove drunk?
Maybe.
You would drive drunk if it wasn't legal?
If it was accepted by society, yeah. If it was, I mean, there's a lot of things I don't.
Well, hold on. It might still it's not illegal to drive drunk, but if you kill somebody,
it is illegal to drive
I'm just saying if in this analogy,
it
if it's not illegal to drive drunk, and you said you would, if you hit somebody or damage your property, you still have to replace that. You're still held accountable for that.
Well, I mean, the laws could be different.
Well,
Everything could change.
Would there ever be a law where it's okay to break someone's property and not be held accountable for that?
You're advocating the law to do whatever you want to your body.
But that's your property.
But hold on. Just because I advocate that doesn't mean. Hold on. Just because I advocate that doesn't mean you're removed from any responsibility. So if I smoke crack.
No, you still have a personal responsibility.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So like right now, if this analogy walks out to its logical conclusion, if I'm sober and hit a van full of people and it's just an accident, I shouldn't go to jail or have to not be held accountable for those actions.
Be held accountable.
So then, what does it matter? My mindset.
Because you're less likely to hit somebody if you're sober than if you are drunk.
Hold on, but I'm still saying is that like we're advocating different things here because like I'm saying that like DUI laws don't stop people from drunk driving, and
it does.
In fact, it really doesn't. The people who drive drunk,
it does.
Ask every person you pull over now for DUI.
No revocations
ask them why they drove drunk. You know what I mean? Because if their answer is because fuck the law, I'd be surprised. They'd just be like, I thought I could make it, or like they weren't thinking.
That's not a justification.
Right. Okay. But I'm just saying is that.
I don't mind.
That's cool. Yeah. DUI laws don't prevent people from drunk driving, but what they do is like harm people. So like a guy who like .08 and was like 2 blocks from being home now goes to jail, loses his job, his family doesn't eat, da 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 da.
That's reward.
I understand that, but like if he just would have made it home, it would have been fine. And so like if you're saying that if you arrested him on Friday and on Saturday he would have killed a family of kids, that's the thing. But you like that's the Minority Report, the movie analogy. You can't really prevent a crime. Like there's no guarantee he was going to hit that family tomorrow, right?
Well, it's hard to prove a negative though.
Right, but what I'm saying is, so like it doesn't justify claiming you prevented something that happened by like harming a bunch of other people in the process. Well, that's what the laws say. They say like since this DUI law happens, we save lives, but they really can't prove that.
But there's no way to prove it. You can look at numbers.
But what I'm saying is,
statistically,
and so if that's the case, if you can't actually prove it,
statistically.
But we can't actually prove
due to the DUI laws.
I'm just saying, I think less people would drive drunk if they just knew they were absolutely held accountable for their actions. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so yeah, I absolutely know what you're saying.
So it's not a law.
Every time
It's not
somebody
a
broke the
law.
they
I'm just
get
saying.
caught.
No, not the law. Forget the law. Let's just say it's known by society that like if you break someone's shit, you have to fix it. And so it doesn't matter if you're sober or drunk. And so I would make the decision that like, I don't know how to drive a Hemi. I'm completely sober, but I don't know how to drive a Hemi. I'm not going to drive it because that might have too much power. I might crash, and I might actually have to pay for somebody's shit.
In a perfect world, you're saying if no matter what happens, it's sober or not sober, if you hit a car, you pay for you're held accountable.
You're held accountable. Everyone should be held to the same level of accountability.
Do you think that's possible?
I do. If we really, it would be very difficult now because of where we're at and how far things have gotten. But I think that through time, that would be much better than.